Now you see in this class course name we have a property course name which is the property for this data member. If we have another data member, then you should have another property with get and set block. And that means we're going to write code for every property. Sometimes you may think that it takes time to do it. So the other way to do it is like this. Same program, but this time you can see we have a same class name gradebook, and inside we have data member public string course name. And notice here the difference between this one and this one is this one has private string course name, but this one has public string course name, and inside we have get block, get and set only. So this does the same thing as this. So instead of writing line number 8 to line number 24, we'll only write one line here. Only write one line. This is called automatic property. Automatically implemented property. So this saves you some time. It saves you some time. Next, let's talk about the constructor. And before I continue here, to say this one does the same thing as this one here. So if I run the program, that's the the same code right here, and you can see course name. It does the same thing as this one does. So if I run the program, I get this output right here. So enter anything, hit enter. Now you can see I get the same thing as the other one does. So the way we write code here, like we're using automatic implemented the property, is we just save some time. So right here, I'm putting a comment here. This save you some time. Close it. Next, let's talk about the constructor. I think it's on page 90. Right, so here's the constructor. Here it talks about a value type and a reference type. So in integer called a value type, the class my gradebook is called a reference type, and some people call the value type as built-in type. So right here I say data type, I call it a built-in type, or you call it value type. They're the same thing. And the object, we call it as reference type. They're the same thing. A reference type, because it's a class, has more than just an integer or a string. It may have many built-in types, object, variable, or value type variables, and many methods, properties. So it's much more than just one integer or string when we call the object. So it point to, in memory, it point to a big concept. It point to the big concept. And when I create a class, like this. I can also do like this. I can also create something like this. Gradebook, my gradebook. That's it. So we create this object or reference type variable. The type is gradebook. And at this moment, it doesn't not point to anything anywhere on memory. It doesn't point to anywhere on the memory. Now at this moment we call it as now. Say we call it, what's the value? What is the value in this variable at this moment? It holds now value. That's what it holds. So that's what our book is talking about. It holds a now value. Now value. Now value is empty value. Doesn't have actual value, but it exists on the memory. And what if I want to point to some space on memory? So what we can do is we initialize this variable by doing this. My gradebook. Here we call this as a constructor. So constructor. Initializes the reference variable. And at this moment, it points to a space on memory. And on that memory space, it has more information. The course name. What does course name has? The course name has. What does class course name has? Class course name has course name variable and the property and display message. All these information are in the memory now that my gradebook is pointing to. So at this moment, it's not a null anymore. It's not a null anymore. It is not null anymore. It points to the space on memory, and that memory which has course name, properties, methods. So not only at this moment, my gradebook has a lot of information in it because it's pointing to somewhere with all this information. But at this moment, it points to nothing. It has null value. So that's that's the book is talking about right here. And when we in our class here, gradebook by default has nothing there. So that's why when we run this program, it doesn't have anything. And by default, the string holds the default value, which is empty string, and that's why when I run the program, I got this right here. We got this right here. It doesn't hold any value before we enter any value until right here. You see, when the initial course name and doesn't have anything, because the string, so string get the default value, empty value, and when we enter something, I can see the value here. So when I run the console, right here, I have to enter something and enter. I got this one right here. You can see that, but it's not good programming. We want to provide some value. We never want to show empty string as the value to the user. So what we do is we can provide a default value. And that's this program. That's where this program comes in, right here. Oh, not this one. So instead of I'll make it narrow here, don't want to have so much space for this. Instead of giving the empty string as the value, like this, we give another version. This version is like this. Public class gradebook, and we have property course name, and meanwhile we have gradebook here again. See, gradebook has the same name as class name inside, but notice here we have this is the method string name, and inside code you can see the name is passed to here. It's assigned to the course name, which is the get property, the get block property. So by doing this one here, you see property get receives the value from this method. We call this method as a constructor. It is used to initialize. Data member. That's what it does. And see, the code does that. You can see when we pass something to right here, the value is passed to here and to the property. So data member get a value. That's what it says. So look at this here. In test, we say gradebook 1 new gradebook. That's the property. This is the constructor. And notice here we have a string passed to constructor. In gradebook 2, we have string passed to constructor. So the string value is passed to right here, and then it passed to here, and then the property get block receives the value, and then you can call it the right way, like this. So that's what the code has. See, right here we have gradebook 1, gradebook 2, and then we have right line. We call this is the this return value, set get and get. This is the set. I'm sorry. This is the set. Here's the set. So the set course name right here. Course name. The set block is called right here. This. So right here we say set property is called to receive the value, and right here get property is called to return the value. So when I run the program, you can see I get this one right away. The gradebook 1 is and gradebook 2. So that's what a constructor does. Constructor is used to initialize the data member. I write on here saying Constructor. That's what constructor does.